Good afternoon, everybody. This is Chris Scully and Matt Winslow and Jim Saeli coming to you from Drive. And today we're talking about workshops.
Not just workshops, Chris, probably the most requested important workshops anyone will ever attend. One of the biggest problems with shops today is they don't understand financials, and that is the basis of all business. And I am so excited that you guys are offering outside of headquarters the most amazing workshops I've ever seen, mastering your financial statements and understanding, well, super cool. Tell us about it. I just love these classes.
All right. So, yeah, we're doing in Dallas in the first week of June. Jim's going to be teaching service advisor, sales, and controlling the front. I'm going to be teaching the keys to understanding financial reports and mastering shop finance. So you asked about the finance classes, so I'm going to talk about those first. One of the biggest problems business people have, small business owners who, especially when they first start in business, is understanding the subject of business finance. And particularly because finance has its own language, it has its own terminology. And if you don't understand the terminology, you can't understand the subject. And that's what the keys to understanding financial reports is all about. It's getting the shop owners to understand the fundamental terminology and certain key principles that they have to understand to be able to read the financial reports that either they get out of their financial software or that their accountants prepare for them. I remember about 30 years ago-ish, when I had a business, and the first time I had to look at the profit and loss statement that my accountant gave me. Can you explain this to me? Because I don't understand this thing. And
Chris, it's funny you say that, because when I started with my shop, we went to our accountant. He printed those off and gave it to us at the end of the year for, after he did all our taxes and everything.
yeah,
Gives this to me. And I asked him what it means, and he goes, don't worry about it. You don't have to pay any taxes. You're good.
yeah, and see, that's part of the problem. Fortunately for me, though, I did have an accountant that was a little bit more interested in me understanding what the heck. But he still didn't do a great job of explaining it. And so I kind of had an idea, and then I had to actually take it on myself to educate myself on what these financial reports were and how they were supposed to be used and what they meant. And fortunately for our clients, you don't have to do that. We did the heavy lifting for you, and we're going to teach it to you. And we're going to teach it to you in a way that makes it actually easy to grasp. And that's a really important point, because whenever you take on a topic that has its own language, you can easily get tripped up unless you're learning it from somebody who actually has taken the care to make it simple to understand.
So let me just rephrase that back for everybody. I have a chance to do the SBA, shop business analysis, with just all kinds of people, and I've looked at thousands of P&Ls, and here's what you're going to find out. Your P&L is absolutely useless because it's made for tax purposes, and all they're trying to do is hide the money on the bottom line. The real money is understanding above and below the gross profit line, and Chris is going to go over that in incredible detail. Your P&L is something you need to look at every month, and it should be for an entire year to date, for an entire year. You need to be looking at your statement of cash flow every day, because that tells you if you can spend money. And you should be looking at your balance sheet. And these aren't things for tax purposes. These are things for you to know if someone's embezzling from you, to know if you're on track. It's really how all your KPIs are based on this. And so you got to come to this thing. Forget taxes. Okay. You guys your accountant's probably doing such a good job hiding the money, you can't even find it the rest of the year. So Chris is going to show you where the money is and how to really run the business. And what's super cool about this is, when you understand your financial statements and you're connected to Drive KPIs, you can get your service manager to go to Jim's class, learn how to run the front. You show up when you feel like it. That's the plan. So Jim, tell us about how you're going to make the service advisor take control so these shop owners can party and have some fun.
Well, it is funny how you're talking about the money, and of course, it's either made or not at the front counter. And some shops, they spend a bunch in marketing, as an example, and so the phone rings. Well, that's great, but does that person who's answering the phone actually convert that individual to showing up to the shop? Just a simple little detail. So in the professional service advisor sales workshop, that's one of the things we go over heavily, to teach individuals how to get customers to the shop, new people to the shop. This is the thing, because you have your regular customers, they call you on the phone. Hey, Jim, I got a problem with my car. When can I bring it in? That's rather easy. But when you have that person that calls up and says, yeah, I got this problem with my car. What do you think it is? Or better yet, I got this problem with my car. I went on YouTube and found out that this is what I need. What's it going to cost me to fix this?
Oh, and by the way, I looked up the prices of the parts on Amazon.
But the problem is, I don't know, and I know all of you guys know this, that we don't know what's going on with the vehicle until you see it. So the right way to handle the customer is to get them into the shop, take a look at the car so we can give them an accurate estimate, and then sell them on the work that they need. And the interesting thing is, these YouTube things or prices on Amazon, they mean nothing, because all the customer wants is their vehicle fixed. So we teach you how to get the customer not only in the shop, but then to sell the job and be effective at it. So that it raises your average repair order, you get a better type of customer in your shop, and you're spending your time working on the customers that make sense, not the ones that don't. So, and I can tell you, for myself, I did this class way back on the Wayback Machine when I had my own shop back in 1997. It was a game changer for me, because I was a good tech. I was good organizationally as well, because I came from a dealership background. I was organized, but handling the customers and dealing with them effectively and getting the work sold that you need to sell to help that customer out so they drive a safe, reliable vehicle is the key in the sales aspect. And that's exactly what we go over in the professional service advisors workshop. And I'm really excited for this to be live, because the interaction and the practicing on the different scenarios is going to be awesome, because we're going to be face to face. It's not a Zoom thing, it's face to face. We'll talk about all different types of scenarios, and it's an awesome way to get really good ideas from the class, but from others as well at the class. Well, whether it's during the class, during breaks, at lunch, or after we're done, it really is an awesome experience. As a matter of fact, we had done some classes live back in March, and the response from the attendees was awesome, because they really liked the interaction. So we definitely have that back again, and it's going to be awesome to see again. So.
Well, let me bottom line you for that just real quick.
Yeah.
Jim is the master at getting people off the phone into the shop. I don't care what crazy stuff they say over the phone. He knows the right answer to it. And once they get there, he knows how to turn an inquiry into a sale. He is the master. So if you want a service advisor to convert phone calls into appointments and appointments into profit, he's your man. You got to be there. He's awesome. So, he's being modest here. I watch him. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. So he's the master. And I want to go back to Chris real quick. Guys, I'm here to tell you the most important class you will ever take as an owner is understanding your numbers. These classes are the most important foundation of business. If you don't understand your numbers, you don't know if people are stealing from you. I just did 2 analysis this week, and I found in one shop, one person was losing $300,000 to embezzlement, another one $200,000. You should know that instantly if you're looking at your numbers. So super, super important. Chris, give us some detail on just some of the cool stuff you go over in that class.
Okay, well, it's first thing is that too many people look at financial statements as boring, whatever. But here's a really important part of it, is that your financial statements, if you know how to read them, protect you, and they help you make good business decisions if you know how to read them. And you brought up the embezzlement, and I have had the unfortunate task of helping shop owners who have had employees steal from them more than once. And the problem is that they didn't catch it right away because they either didn't know how to read their financial statements or had gotten lazy about it. And if you look at your financial statements on a regular basis, as well as the rest of your shop KPIs and reports, you know not just the financial position of your shop, but you'll be able to see signs of things that are occurring in your shop, potential problems that might be occurring in your shop that you can then investigate and address before they become major situations. And when you can do that, you have security and you have freedom as a business owner. It is amazing how much you can actually see when you put all that information together and look at the whole picture. And we're going to go over that and the use of financial statements, how they compare one to each other, and why you can't evaluate your business on just one financial statement. And there's a common question I've heard from small business owners in all sectors, including automotive repair. And here's the question. If I made this amount of profit, how come that's not in my bank account? So for all of you who are listening to this, come to the workshop. I will answer that question definitively. And you will know how to determine the reason for that by yourself from your own financial reports when you're done with these workshops.
Yeah, great point. I mean, the top line sales, the only people that get paid on that are the state government, sales tax, your vendors, and your techs. Bottom line is for Uncle Sam and, state, all the money's in the middle, man. And that's what you need to understand clearly. So it's super awesome. By the way, Chris is a genius. He says stuff that just haunt me, like never make an investment that doesn't generate cash flow, which is genius. By the way, that's what caused the 2008 housing crash. People were doing that. And number two, he says another thing that just revolutionized my life. He says, the wealthy never buy luxuries with their paycheck. They buy luxuries from profits from their investment. And that is an incredible difference. If you want to create wealth and have financial security, you got to come to this class because he is the master.
Again, it's interesting because I joked before about my accountant and giving me the profit and loss statement and not understanding it. But after going through this myself, again, way on the Wayback Machine, it put me in a position where I got a different accountant that worked with me, and we actually planned for financial situations. And it really, what it ended up allowing us to do is we ended up purchasing our property because of it. So and which just created longevity for the business. So it is really, really important for sure. And Chris, and you see this as well. How many shop owners don't want to hire people or put people in a position of handling money because they're afraid of exactly what's going to happen to the money?
Oh, absolutely.
You go over systems and how to organize things so that you can put in those safeguards so you can have people there, and it creates accountability for them as well.
Yeah, that's an important point, actually. And there's one other, I want to tie in these two sets of workshops for somebody too, or for our audience too, because here's another complaint you hear sometimes. I'm spending all this money on marketing, and I'm not getting any customers in the door, right? Well, there's 2 points to that. One is that there are certain financial aspects to marketing, and sometimes you spend money on marketing, but you're not spending it the right way. Sometimes the problem is you're actually not spending enough on marketing, even though you might think it's a lot. There's that. And then sometimes your marketing can be spot on, and where you're losing the customer is when they call the shop. And a really well-trained shop owner will be able to see, using their financial reports and other KPIs, which it is. And if you send your service advisor to get trained, you can plug that hole by getting them to understand the right way to handle their the customers that call in, and ensuring they actually follow what they're taught.
You know what's amazing about that, Chris? We do an interview and we do a shop business analysis. Before I get to talk to them, do the analysis, we have people do a mystery shop, and over 90% of the time, even if the person answering the phone is nice and friendly, they never invite the customer in. They just don't. It's like, here's the information you asked for. Bye.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
amazing.
they don't ask for the business at all. Right.
No, they don't. And to be honest, Jim will tell you the whole point of the phone call is to ask them to come in. I mean, that's the goal.
Yep. And it's the one thing that's missed, and all different ways the phone's answered on the bad side. And you're right, Matt, like they answer the phone politely, they answer the questions for the customer, but they don't actually ask the customer questions about what's going on. They just get some basic information from them, but actually never go into starting to build that relationship, to build up that trust, to get them in the door, so that the customer is actually willing to, knowing that, hey, I got to come in for you to do something. And that's really the key. And we go over that heavily, and we give you an awesome tool to help you with that as well. So that even if you don't feel confident or comfortable about that, I'm going to teach you how to actually do that. There's a checklist we use that's going to be your tool for your toolbox at the front counter to be able to do that and do it easily.
I was at a workshop one time, and everybody was saying, oh yeah, my guy, we've got that phone thing handled. So the instructor said, okay, well, do me a favor, swap your cell phone with some. I actually said, call the person's shop next to you, because he didn't want to show it on caller ID, because it's always, when they call on caller ID, when you call on caller ID, they know it's you and it's always perfect.
Yeah,
and so
right.
he had everybody, swap numbers and call the shop. And these owners, and we played them loud. We played them for everybody. And they're hearing how their people answer the phone. And every one of them said, when I get back, I'm going to kill them.
Yeah. And that simple thing, that fundamental of answering the phone, which we've taught for years. And it's really one of the first policies any business should put in place, is also one of the most violated. It's amazing how that occurs, but it does occur regularly. And I've heard many a story of a shop owner hearing how his employees answered the phone when he wasn't around, going in, and let's say it wasn't pretty. I'll just leave it at that.
I just want to throw this out. If somebody called you in Mandarin Chinese and you don't speak Mandarin Chinese, you wouldn't understand what they're asking. Well, one of the things I love about Jim is he translates customer talk into stuff shops understand. Customer goes, I checked on Amazon, and this is how much the part is, how much to replace it. And Jim will tell you what they're really asking is, I have this noise. It's scaring the crap out of me. I don't know what it is, but I'm a man, so I can't say that because that means I'm not a man. Can you help me? And he shows you how to turn that question into the sale, because people aren't calling for a price. They're calling for a solution. They just don't know what else to say.
That's right. That's it. They know it's going to cost them money. They're not jumping up and down saying, oh boy, I get to spend $1,000 to fix my car. Woohoo. They're not saying that at all, but they know it's going to cost them money. They just, so that's why they go down that road. So,
and by the way, Jim's got the greatest thing. Once you get him in the door, what I love Jim does is the real issue for most people isn't price, it's affordability. Nobody has $1,000 sitting in their bank account waiting for their car to break. So you have to offer financing. And I love what Jim says. He goes, all right, raise your right hand, repeat after me. We have a deal with the bank. They don't fix cars and we don't loan money. But you can still offer Visa and MasterCard, or you can break it down into piles and do some of it today and get paid for it today and some of it later. That's the issue for most people, is just the affordability factor. But it doesn't come across that way. It comes across as, oh my God, that's a lot of money. And I love what Jim does. He looks them straight in the head. He goes, I know it really is. What else you got?
Yeah. Well,
and how would you like to pay for that?
the funny thing is too, that nobody gets up in the morning and says, yeah, I get to take my car to the shop. Woohoo. They don't say that about dentists. They don't say, it's like there's certain things that you just dread, right? And taking your car to the shop is one of them. So the customer comes in with that sort of pit in their stomach already. And the service advisor has to be able to deal with that. And that's a great thing about that class is that there's so many things that you go over about how to deal with it, and they get to practice it. Especially when we deliver it live, the practice is really
So
fun.
much better. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
much better because it allows me to go around the room and watch what's going on and to give pointers and give direction so that the individual who's taking the class, when they get done, they'll feel confident about going back to the shop and handling the situations that come up and do it with ease and building up that confidence. And that's the key. Now there's another interesting aspect of this, and that's so a lot of times I hear from shop owners, it's like, well, I really can't, I wouldn't care if I lost some phone calls because I can't get the work done anyway. Well,
Ah,
that's the theme of the next class, which is controlling the front. If your folks aren't at least 100% efficient, you have issues in the shop that need to be addressed that are handled by the front and handled by organization. And what can you do to sort those things out so that you can get more work through the shop? And then you can take these customers in, which actually expand the business. And that's how the business grows. So they both dovetail with each other. And it's super, super important because I go to a lot of shops and I see shops that, oh, I'm booked out for the next 3 weeks. I don't have to worry about appointments. Yeah, but you know what? They're not getting any work done. Everybody's at 50% efficient, work's not getting done. And that's a factor of organization in the shop. And that's exactly what we get into with controlling the front. Your workflow, how to handle the different aspects of it, how to handle the inspections properly, vehicle inspections, so that your customers are driving safe, reliable vehicles and you service them quickly and do it well. And it just, you all have chaos in the shop. Everybody does, but it's how do I control this so that I think everybody's had that week where everything went just right and it felt easy and you got more done. That was because you were efficient. And that's exactly what we get into in controlling the front, because it's imperative that the service advisor not only be good at sales, but anybody that's involved with the front, as a matter of fact, even folks in the back that are foremans or even lead techs, be a part of the controlling the front, because they're a key element in making sure that everything flows through the shop easily. And yes, those days can happen more and more. It's a matter of getting everybody on the same page, organizing it well. And that's exactly what we go into in controlling the front for sure.
Hey, Jim. Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. By the way, we have a celebrity participating today. I want to give a shout out to Dennis from Diamond G Repair, celebrity shop owner, super cool in Colorado. Awesome, awesome person. Awesome to have you on the show today, sir. Thank you so much. And by the way, we have got a killer show for you next week. Special guest, Chris, the Bills Crestmore Automotive in Denver. You're going to love her. She is a genius, a fire plug. So, Chris, tell us a little bit about next week's show.
well, you just did. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking to Chris. We're going to be talking about some achievements she's had in her shop since the last time she was a guest on the show, and where she's going from there. And I'm not going to reveal any more than that because I want people to tune in. It's going to be a good show, and she's doing great. Her shop's doing great, and we're going to talk about that. So
Okay,
that's
real quick. I want to give the schedule for Dallas, okay?
yes, absolutely. Let's
June
do that.
6, 7, and 8, controlling the front. June 6 and 7, the keys to understanding your financial reports. Probably my most favorite class of all time. June 9, 10, and 11, professional service advisor sales. And June 8, 9, 10, and 11, mastering shop finances. These classes are my favorite. I love the service advisor classes because they get us free to go do what we want to do in business. And I love the Chris's classes because they're all about making lots of money so that you can take care of your family and have a blast. So please sign up. The link for signing up for these classes is in the chat. Check them out right now. There's limited seats and you're going to really miss it if you don't show up. I'd reserve your seat now before they sell out.
And there's one important aspect of the fact that we're doing them in person in Dallas that everybody should know, and we haven't talked about it yet, but it's really very popular with our clients. It's popular with us, heck. And that's that you get to hang out with other shop owners over lunch, over dinner. Even if let's say you're taking the finance classes, but there's other people that will be taking Jim's classes. We're all in the same hotel. You'll be able to mingle, you'll be able to network and make those connections. And that's one of the things that is much harder to do on Zoom because we're doing it in person, and it's when you're on Zoom, you only get to connect with the people in the specific class that you're in.
Yeah,
So,
and
go
it's
ahead.
Chris, yeah, because going back in March when we did the other classes back in March, one of the things that was really cool about that was there were a number of times where we all got together, went to dinner, networked with each other, had a great time. It was really almost like a mini expo, actually. It was really, really cool. The hotel is beautiful. There's tons of space. There's this burger place across, literally walking distance from the shop, from the hotel, which is, they have awesome food. There's a lot of really good stuff around the area. So it's actually really, really cool for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Absolutely.
so we're coming up on our time, everybody, and thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next week when we sit down and talk with Chris Probst about her shop and what she's achieved since the last time she was on the show, and talk a little bit about her future. So everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week. And Jim, thank you very much for joining us today.
Not a problem. Anytime, Chris. And I want to see everybody kick butt and come to these classes and get the help. And it's interesting because I know Chris's service advisors, managers, and stuff have been through these classes, and watching them work is actually really cool because I see the result from the training that they get. So it's very cool.
Yeah,
Hope to
awesome.
see you all there for sure.
All right, have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care.